Hello, my name is Jonathan Potoshnik, and the question is, I'm just starting out and I'm very nervous about growing too quick and too fast, and how should I cope with that? So basically, as you grow your business in this first year, my guess is that you'll be somewhat limited in how fast you grow, different simply because you're going to have some learning experiences you've got to go through. You may have some money, cash flow issues that you've got to work out, and you'll have some marketing things that you need to learn. So, depending on what your idea of growing too fast is, I suspect that in year one you're going to be somewhat slowed down in a sense, unless you go out and you sell a lot of big jobs and you potentially underbid those. That's one way that growing too fast could really hurt you. But if you're going after, say, the residential market or small commercial, you're probably going to not grow too fast. What will probably happen is, and I'm not saying you can't grow too fast by any means, so don't take me wrong on that. I'm just saying you'll probably be held back in some way that will keep you from growing too fast if you're going after smaller accounts because of the sheer number of accounts you've got to get, and then you're going to be required to do a lot of work yourself. Maybe that doesn't mean mowing and such, but it means answering the phones, going to see the prospects, writing the marketing material, talking to the clients, doing the billing. So you're going to bump up against the place where you're so busy that it's going to hinder the growth because you won't be able to sell as much work or do the marketing to get the additional work. But again, if you're going after big commercial and you've got an in where you can get some really big projects fast, that is a true scenario in that you could potentially grow too fast. And the worst kind of growing too fast is underbidding. And so I wouldn't worry about it personally too terribly much. If you can solve your money problems, and you can, if you already know marketing and you can do all those things, then basically the way you're going to prevent yourself from growing too fast is obviously, or the way to cope with that is to not be the guy doing the work so that you can be in the office, and that way you'll have the time available to manage that. If you're doing the work and trying to manage rapid growth, it's going to be very difficult. So if you are worried about that, when you hit the place where you start to feel like you're growing quick, that's a great problem to have because you should be able to replace yourself and not be doing any of the work in the field. And further, I'd add to that that if you feel like you're growing too quick, you can always slow it down. I mean, you can always rein it in and slow down the marketing, turn away work. There's a million things you can do to slow that down. The other way you might cope with this concern is you need to really focus right now on hiring and finding employees. So most of your problems with growing too fast are going to come because you can't find enough workers to do it. Now, yes, you may have money problems. That could be a different side of the business or side of the problem, but that can generally be solved by billing quicker, billing every week after you do the work. That will generally help you tremendously. Um, if you don't go out and finance an incredible amount of equipment, not having the equipment could eventually create some cash flow issues. So even if you bill weekly, you may still need, still may run into some money problems because you've got to buy all the equipment, the trucks and such. So there is that possibility. But where I was going with this is, the faster you bill, the better. That'll help you. And so that's one way to solve the big barrier, a big problem that most guys get into when they grow too fast, and that's money. The other problem that typically happens when you grow too fast, this is all assuming that you're out of the field and you're working in the office, so you're really working on the business. The other problem is not being able to find the employees fast enough. So you're growing, you're selling the accounts, but now you can't get enough men to service, enough employees to service the work. And then you end up with a bad reputation, you end up dropping the ball. That's a very valid concern. So from day one, your focus needs to be heavily on recruiting. So even if this first year that means one or two crews for you, imagine what it's going to be like when you have 10 crews or you're growing really quick and you're moving towards 20 crews. I mean, that's a big company. But that day will come. And in the beginning of your business, it doesn't seem like the employee problems are as bad. You don't realize how bad the employee problem can be. But once your business starts snowballing and growing, hiring employees becomes a huge focus of what your role is as the business owner. It's finding those employees. So start thinking about that now because that's going to be one of the biggest problems you're going to encounter if you do in fact grow too fast. So to give you some peace of mind, if you're working on recruiting and on the other side you're making sure you can solve money problems if you have to buy trucks and equipment very quickly, if you can figure out how to solve both of those problems now, and you can be thinking about how those are going to get solved. And as you're growing, you're thinking about how those are going to be solved. You're recruiting, you're finding workers, you're figuring out where you're going to get the money from. Then those two are the biggest problems you're going to run into from a growing too fast standpoint, and you'll have answers for both of those. So focus on those now, and I don't think you'd have to stress too much. And then again, worst case, you're growing too fast. It's a beautiful problem to have. What you do then is you let the accounts that aren't making you the most money, that are causing you the most trouble, you let them go and you replace them with better accounts. So if you can't handle the new growth, you simply start swapping out low performing accounts for better accounts. And then that is how you end up with a really good business that's optimized for a high net profit. So fast growth is a good problem to have. It just depends on how you're going to control it. So good luck.